All right, thank you for bearing with us, everyone. Can you hear me okay? I'll try to speak up for now. I'm Greg Warner from Novacura. We got two other presenters for this session today, Johan Selin from Oilus and Brian Hillman back there from AgReserves. I'll bring up, want to flip to the agenda hat. So introductions, pretty much just did, that was quick. Well, we'll start with some AgReserves. So we'll have them give some background into why they started using our product, Novacura Flow, and sort of some background on what they're doing with it. And then I will jump in, do some overview on the product itself. Yes. And then I will turn it over to Johan, who will do a demo of actually building an app. So that they'll make a modification to an app for your analyze a demo, show you what the outcome to say. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to Brian to get started with some AgReserves. Yeah.
So AgReserves, what we're doing, or what we do, what we're using M3 with right now is we have some olive groves, I guess, and some walnut groves that we're harvesting, and then we mill those different things. Take the olives, we cress it, make it olive oil, and then we harvest the walnuts, and we process those into sellable products. But one of the challenges that we're running into with those locations is they've been for the last 7 years they've had a custom built system that's outdated, but it's custom, right? So they wanted a button that was Tony the Tiger, so they had a button that was Tony the Tiger. So it was very custom, and introducing M3 to them, one of the first things that we had was that they said was too many screens, too many clicks. I don't know if you guys ever heard that before. So they just, too many steps, too many things to do. And so we had to kind of take a step back and, okay, how can we get them to do this? We have a short timeline for training. So actually Angela, who's in the back, she and I are we're headed down to Chile after this to go train, because their harvest starts next week. But they don't bring on their workers until it's sometime this week. So we have a really short time span to do that. And with those locations, not a ton of people have a lot of interaction with peach eaters. And so one of the things that we're looking to do is just how can we make it easier for people to just go and do the perform functions. So one of the main things that we're having them do is we're having to use a purchase order to bring in the product from the field. And then we also have attributes that we have to assign to each field or to each truck that's bringing in the product. And so that's the solution that Novacure's helped us put together. Now this is also says solution in progress. We're still finalizing this, and so not everything is. We still have some cleanup to do on this rig. So with this, this is one of the first screens that come into once you open up the app. We're able to search on the BOs. This is a live feed into PMS 200, so you're able to see all the purchase orders there. Part of the thing that I thought that has helped with the development is you can define the statuses, the warehouse or facilities, so that you're able to refine what you're searching for. But that it's, as you're typing in a PO, it'll automatically trigger this intelligence, so you got what you need. So you search for the PO here, and then you select the line, on the PO. Right now there's a lot of information on this screen, but it's we just brought in everything on the API, so it's not necessarily what you have to have. So it just gives you the information on the PO, and then click update, or sorry, this is actually attributes. So the user would enter it in the attributes. These are based on the ones that we wanted to provide and that needed to go in the system. So they enter that in, and then they click update. So that pushes the attributes, updates it in M3 in real time. And then this is the step where we're receiving the quantity off of the PO. So the line off of the PO. So we just enter the quantity and then add PO receipt, and it gives you an update, or tells you that it updated, and that was it. And so rather than having a user go into PMS 200 to find the PO, then PMS 300 to enter or to receive on the PO, and then on the next screen you would enter in the attributes, and then go through the next few steps to close out. That's all that they're happy to do, is just click on those buttons. We've also made so that it's the languages change, so it goes from US or from English to Spanish, depending on the user's setup.
Yeah, sorry. Good. All right, so I'll jump in and go through just an overview of the product. If you want to flip to the next slide. The simplest explanation is we're an ERP app builder. So this is a low-code development platform, kind of along the lines of Microsoft Power Apps, if you're familiar with that. It's just that everything that we do is geared towards ERP integration and industrial kind of applications. Which I'll see, and I think you'll see what some of the functionality it would show. You can flip to an actual. I think this is probably fairly clear at this point. I won't spend a ton of time here, but it's just kind of the background of why we exist. Like Brian described, our customers are all running some sort of ERP system, lots of them on M3. We do some others as well. We're big fans of those systems, and most of the time, they provide functionality that's quite suitable for the majority of the business. But our customers always run into specific functional areas where they need something more tailored, or a customized kind of process. And then that's basically what we do. So instead of having to do a workaround, Band-Aid kind of solution with Excel or other things, you can use our tool. You can quickly build apps. They work through the ERP system APIs, so they're all live, real-time transactions, just like the data was getting entered by the users in the ERP system, but you get this simplified user interface and process. Oops, sorry, back one more. There you go. Good auto. Is it just skipping? Yeah, back. So, that's really weird. So the slide that's skipping, just to give you a quick overview. So you can build mobile apps, and that was across the top of the picture. So these apps that run on phones, Android scanner devices, tablets, web browsers. We also have what's called a portal framework, and that's often used for maybe dashboards on a shop floor, sometimes for dispatch in a field service scenario, where you need a dashboard to assign tasks to technicians. And in some cases, things like supplier and customer portals as well. So that's a pure web-based, slightly different interface than the mobile apps. And then at the bottom, we have connectors to different ERP systems, M3 being one of our primary ones. And then we have some other technical connectors as well. So in addition to talking to the ERP system, these apps can communicate to external databases. They can talk to machines. So we sometimes have applications where we're getting input from scales on your shop floor, or they're talking to CNC machines, things like that. But we'll jump into this one. So since this is our more technical of our two sessions this week, we'll talk a bit about how the development process works. And the screenshot you're seeing up here is the main core of our tool. So you build an app by drawing out this process flow. So this essentially is the code of the app that we're looking at here. If you see the little heads icons in there, those represent what we call user steps. So each one of those, if you were to double click on one, and I'll show you what it looks like in a minute, you get a screen designer where you can drag and drop controls, inputs, camera inputs, GPS location controls, all sorts of things to create your user experience. And then as the user navigates from screen to screen, they're going through the logic of this app. So you can see, going over here, you can see things like decision steps in here. So based on some data that maybe the user enters here, we can branch and go down a different path and process. Right? So it's a bit dynamic as you walk through. The other key thing to point out here are these little icons where we're connecting with some other external system. So this would be executing a transaction in M3. This would be executing an AI API to do some scanning from an image of a document, for example. So you have any idea what that looks like. Oh, I'm trying to move forward. So this is those user steps over on the left there. It's not the greatest picture, but that's the result of a user step, is you're essentially laying out those fields on page that the user will see when they're running that app. And then this is an example of an API call into M3. And what we do here is, again, we're ERP tailored to be ERP solutions. So we have these modules that we think make it a lot simpler to interact with the ERP system. So the highlighted text there is a specific M3 module, the CMS 100. And then what this allows you to do is write a simple query that looks like a SQL statement. But behind the scenes, this is executing an ION ADI call. So it's actually a web service behind the scenes. We're just giving you a quick and easy way to pull data from the ERP system. And the same thing goes for execute transactions. You get kind of a simple interface here to execute specific transactions. Again, this is the idea of being focused on industrial type apps. So scanning, anything you do has scanning capabilities. Any app that you build, all the inputs will accept scans either from a trigger scanner, or even users on a phone can click the little barcode and scan with their camera. And we also do different barcode standards. You can do these multi-dimensional codes where we'll split the data into separate fields from a single scan. There's a common use case scenario where in a high volume scenario, you want users to mostly scan through a process. We can do that pretty easily. Okay. The other big topic here, trying to minimize the time it takes to get these apps deployed, is our marketplace. So as a company, we've been around, I think 2007 or so was the launch of this product. So over that time span, we've built lots of applications for ERP purposes. And those are out now all in this marketplace library that we have. And those work like templates. So when you grab one of those apps from the library, that process flow that we saw is already there with all of the transactions. So if you want to tailor that, all you have to do is go and make some modifications to it. You don't even need to start from scratch. So from that standpoint, we think it helps things go really quickly building these apps. And then if you go to the next one, and you might have to hit the cursor here to start the little video. You know, this wouldn't be a presentation without talking about AI at some point. So we have that coming as well. This is in development right now from our R&D. What I'm doing in this recorded example is chatting with the AI. I'm asking it to create a field service application for me. And it's coming back with some questions about how things should work in that app. For example, I told it at the beginning, I wanted technicians who use this app to be able to issue materials. And it comes back and asks me, are they only issuing from their van stock, or are they issuing from van stock and the entire warehouse of inventory? So I give it those answers, and it starts building out the process flow for me. Again, based on that kind of best practice we have from building these apps over time. All right. Goes the next one. You might have to clear. It's not easy. This is the concept of the portal that I mentioned. So you build the apps in the same way. It uses the same connectors, the same M3 code behind the scenes. It just gives you a different way of presenting in this portal kind of look. And like I said, this is sometimes used. I've seen it on displays on a manufacturing shop floor, showing the status of manufacturing orders. It's also commonly made externally available for suppliers to come in and update shipping times and so on. To the next one. I'll go quick here so we have talk through the demo. But just a quick overview of the architecture. Over on the left side is all of the development tools. So that process modeling tool that you use to build the apps is cloud-based. Then there's a runtime environment for production apps, which you access from the mobile devices shown here, or the portal. The connections to the backend systems, they all are routed through a connector agent. And those are posted by our customers. And the advantage of that is it means we can connect to cloud-hosted systems or on-prem systems. You could put the agent on-prem if you want to, and host it there, and it can talk to things locally on-prem. The other key point here, and this is for security kind of stuff, is those agents, they're listening for transactions on the cloud. So that's only outbound. So there's nothing you have to open up that allows us into a private network. So from a security standpoint, we've got some defense customers and things that are particular about that kind of stuff, and this is sort of how we comply with those three areas. Okay. In the last quick video here, won't go into detail on this, but this is the centralized, we call it the hub. So this is the centralized place where you do all the administration around these apps, setting up user access and roles, as well as deploying the apps, which is what the video is showing. So as you build these, the apps are version controlled, and you have different environments across the top there. So dev, test, QA, of prod in this case, and you control the promotion process from those environments, and you can see which versions of the app have been deployed in the different environments you have. So that the whole kind of DevOps process is built into the tool as well. All right, I think that's it for my overview.